Okay, warmly welcome to the second Accord webinar. Accord is a Horizon Europe project that started around 2.5 years ago. It's about digitalizing building permitting and automating code compliance checking. And today we are presenting our tools and methodologies which are aimed towards municipalities and other professionals. Welcome. I am Rita Lavikka and I come from VTT, Technical Research Center of Finland, and I have been working as the project coordinator. And the agenda shortly, I will shortly explain what is Accord, and then we will have short presentations from those that have provided us YouTube videos on the material, and then you have the opportunity to ask any questions or provide any comments that you might have. Okay, about the speakers, I already presented myself, and then we have Jaan Saar from Future Insight. He will shortly present himself later. Then we have Ilkka Mattila from a Finnish company called Cloud Permit, and Pia Nits from Solibri, and Gonçal Costa from La Salle University, and Tarja Mäkeläinen also from VTT. Okay, so our vision has been to create a transparent and resource efficient for both the building permit authorities and the building permit applicants. And the idea behind is to have a cloud-based service that integrates all the participants. It provides an access to this visible information over internet, and the system connects to other compliance checking services on the background. And in Finland, we already have 2 online permitting services which allow the submission of an IFC file, and you can also do compliance checking with Solibri service. So about the benefits, we haven't done any cost-benefit analysis, but in general we can already say that digital building permitting improves the regulatory compliance of designs, improves collaboration because all the stakeholders can access the information. Of course, efficiency and transparency. You can get the permit faster, more easier. You also get more benefits at the end of the process because you are able to integrate data. And you can also mitigate risks early on in the design if your design is compliant already at the beginning. And of course, sustainability. In Accord, we have been developing one service that you can use to calculate the building LCA. Okay, and how to get there? So at the moment, many of the European countries are on several, let's say, levels on digital building permitting. Some are even here exchanging PDFs, but most of them are here that you can have an online system where you do all these transactions, but with PDF. And then there are 2 countries, Finland and Estonia, where you can submit your design as IFC and even do this kind of automated code compliance checking. And in the future, we think that regulations will be written both for computers and for humans, so that also computers can understand the semantics behind it and support the designer. Semantics already mentioned, and interoperability has been the key enablers in our projects throughout it. Here are the concepts. So we have been, actually I will show the next slide, which is even better to show. So we have created a rule formalization tool, which the users can use to formulate building compliance based rules for machine readability. We have trialed with a manual approach and also AI, so natural language processing approach for this translation process. We have created the starter package which Jaan will present later today shortly. So that helps the municipalities to start this journey, so how to get to the next level. And this whole framework is based on IFC. So the design has to be in a very structured way, modeled in a structured way, so that computers can understand the contents and code compliance checking services can perform well. And we are experimenting all our results in 9 BIM-based real-life building projects, which are presented shortly here. So the countries are mentioned here: Finland, Estonia, UK, Germany, and Spain. We are trialing with 13 regulations, varying from design codes to building acts and decrees, residential, non-residential building projects, and IFC already mentioned, but also city GML, which is very important as well. So this is Accord really shortly, and then about our second training package. So as you probably understood when registering, there were already some material provided to you as YouTube videos. So if you haven't yet checked them, you can do that after this seminar as well. But there is one YouTube video on how to automate building permitting. So this is really nice for municipalities. Then that's presented by Jaan, and then Ilkka from Cloud Permit is presenting their building permitting online service. Then my colleague Peter Radil has been developing this BIM-based carbon checking service. Gonçal is behind this rule formalization tool. And then Pia from Solibri, she will present Solibri shortly. Yeah, and then Tarja, this transformation pathway. Yes, but yeah, let's start from here. So the concept is so that the presenters have around 2 minutes to present, and then we move on to the next presenter. So Jaan, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Rita, for the very good introduction and overview of everything we do in Accord, which is quite a lot, to be honest, and quite technical. So the reason why we have this educational starter pack is that maybe a lot of this technical stuff can be overwhelming. It's a bit overwhelming to me, to be honest, especially if you look at all the great research that goes into it and really kind of cutting edge advancements that we're applying and looking to experiment here in Accord. But if you think about the municipality side, and I was before joining Future Inside, I was also working for the ministry in Estonia, implementing BIM-based permitting, and not all municipality ministry guys are really that into technical stuff. So we wanted to create something more high level to show what are maybe the main steps in implementing building permitting with BIM. What role does open BIM play in it? Open standards, which are crucial in my view on implementing any kind of regulatory compliance checking. And also looking at some of the process, some of the technologies, some of the software solutions out there already, and also taking a peek at the more advanced stuff we've developed within the Accord project. But still, the underlying goal is to show that it's not rocket science. It's easy to start. The standards, the technology is there. You just have to start implementing. So that would be the message of this starter pack and this part of the Accord project. So I hope I'm in the 2 minutes still, Rita.
Yes, it looks really, really good. Thank you so much, Jaan.
Yeah.
Yes. And I just posted the link to the video material to the chat, so please take a look at it if you haven't yet done so. These are really, really nice, maximum of 15 minutes videos.
And if we have questions later on, we can discuss it, right?
Yes, yes,
webinar.
That's the idea. Yes, you can already actually put your questions and comments to the chat so you don't forget them. Okay, then moving on. So Ilkka, would you like to present Cloud Permit?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rita. So I'm Ilkka Mattila. I'm with Cloud Permit. So Cloud Permit is a cloud-based online permitting service. We provide the digital experience to both applicants and authorities. So that's the service between those two, where all the permitting processes are run. We currently have more than 2,000 local authority organizations using our services in Finland, Canada, and in the US. We have 300 municipalities in Finland, and about 240 are using our services for both application intake and permitting and inspections. So within the Accord project, we added capabilities to accept the IFCs in Cloud Permit as part of the process. We also integrated Solibri automatic checking, their cloud service, which Pasi will present later on. And outside of Accord, we also integrated a digital twin, so you can see also the IFCs in city models. Kind of a few words about the purpose of Cloud Permit. So it's kind of it's a user interface for the applicants, and it's a user interface for the authorities, but it also manages the permitting process and the status, and collects all the information together. So as Jaan mentioned, it's quite technical, but we try to hide the complexity behind intuitive and an easy UI. And then in the behind, we can integrate with multiple different compliance checking tools, such as Solibri Model Checker or Clearly BIM by Future Insights. But within this project, and our first implementations have now been with Solibri. Yeah, and one use case that we also have within this project is that we will read the data for the applications from the model. So if you have the model needed for the permitting authorities in the model, so we are able to read that from the model. Yeah, but that's my part. Thanks, Rita.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ilkka. Really nice overview of the tool. And then moving on to our Accord BIM-based carbon checking service. So this is actually developed by my colleague Peter Radil, who couldn't join today. But it is an IFC-based tool, so it works like that you submit your IFC file, and then the tool provides you with a conservative value of the CO2 contents in the building. So it's really nice to get kind of a first idea of the CO2 emissions involved. It will help the designer at the early phases of the project to understand how the situation is, and then you can use other tools to kind of analyze what to do to maybe reduce the emissions. And in Finland, starting next year, there will be a limit value for the CO2 emissions. And with this tool, you can check whether you are compliant with this regulation. So really nice tool. It's currently like a proof of concept. Okay, then we can move on to next one, which is Solibri. But now I'm checking, did I say the wrong name at the beginning? Was it Pia or or someone else from Solibri presenting the tool?
Is Pia here or not? If not, I can
Okay,
present.
perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, Pasi Paasiala from Solibri, and we have been developing here a tool, a version of Solibri that you can run in the cloud, and we can read the BCRL rule language and check the building models against that. So that's basically the thing that we've been working on in short.
Could you, Pasi, shortly explain this BCRL, so Building Compliance Rule Language, that we have been developing?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the right person to do it, but like basically it starts from marking up the building code, and then you get this race tag. Race is another thing that has been developed, I don't know, almost 20 years ago, that it turns this text into kind of computable content, and then in Solibri we have been implementing the terms that are used in the race or BCRL, so that we can check the building code against the FC buildings. So that's the thing in short. But I think if you want to go into more details, I think Thomas is the man to talk to.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. And Thomas has actually explained the concept in another video provided for the first webinar. But then moving on, Tarja, would you like to continue with this transformation pathway? What is it?
Yes, that's a good question. Now we go out of the technological scope. All these great technical possibilities has to be implemented to the processes and to the environment of building permitting, and this material shows an approach how to do it systematically. So transformation pathway is taking those transformation steps Rita showed from manual to digital, automated, and all the way to advanced level of digital building permitting and automated code compliance checking. And also it covers kind of a road mapping, systematically road mapping with all the key actors, that how you do this transformation. There is in the material, there is an example from the Finnish transformation pathway, and we have also been worked with other countries which are involved in Accord demonstrators. And also one area in this how to support transformation pathway is that we created something called transition matrix that also identifies development actions between the steps when you go forward in your maturity. So that's the transformation pathway. Happy to talk more about it. Our conclusions until now is that they are very kind of the starting points for this transformation pathways are very diverse. Countries are and regions are in different stages, and also the dynamics for this transition process is very they are very different dynamics, that how you actually, what is the trigger to do the change. So for that also the big this material for awareness raising, the information package is very important to understand what this all is about. what Jaan Saar was talking in the first speech.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. So now we have really nice time still available for you to have this interactive session. So you are more than welcome to present whatever questions or concerns or comments you have, and you can put your ideas to the chat or just open your mic and ask. So just raise your hand. Who is the first brave one to ask something or just comment? If there's no questions, we can have a short warm-up exercise with you, if that's okay.
Can I ask questions, yeah. Rita?
Or you can, of course, ask questions.
Attendance. Yeah, I maybe just wanted to highlight also that there's also a lot of material outside of the Awkward project. And in the starter pack, there are a lot of links and references to other material. So maybe if somebody has a more broader question regarding not just the Awkward stuff, but in BIM-based permitting and using BIM in compliance checking in general, what they've read or what they've heard, then these questions are also very welcome. And right, Rita? So we shouldn't only limit to the stuff we have in this webinar or what we've kind of explained, but we should use this opportunity to really discuss the whole concept and the work around Awkward and what Awkward is trying to achieve in terms of automating building permitting.
Yes, really nice comment, Jaan. And also, if you have any, it would be really great to also hear about your challenges. What are you working at the moment? That could also help us to get some insights on those. So yeah, there's already Dimitrios. Please go ahead.
Hi, hello, and thank you for the presentation. I would like to ask the following: if in the use cases where the building permit was implemented as automated checking, what were the struggles with respect to utilizing the IFC schema through the entities utilization from the various vendors? What I'm trying to say is that in most of the cases, we have an issue where the various programs and tools that we use are not using correctly the schema, and what is exported is not what it should be. Were there some rules that were stipulating how someone should model the building, how it should be delivered towards the authorities? It's a big hurdle, and there's a lot of discussions around that. So I would like to have your input, if I may. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really important question, actually. And as I shortly mentioned, that we have these country-specific demonstrations. So as I'm from Finland, I'm maybe the best one to discuss about this case in general, but we were following our national guidelines. So before Accord, we had a national project called RAVA 3 Pro project, and there the experts defined these guidelines, really detailed guidelines, so on the property set level. And in the Finnish demonstrations, we have two building projects, two courthouses, one in Vantaa and one in Pori. And in both of these cases, the architects followed these detailed guidelines. And even though we had those really detailed guidelines, we quite soon realized that it's really something new for the architects, for the designers. to model in a really detailed level. So there has to be this kind of a learning curve at this point. So we need more guidelines which are really easy to follow. We need education for the designers, so how to do this modeling, because it has to be in a very detailed level. And once we get there, then it opens like huge opportunities to use that data in more analysis in our built environment. But this is one of the kind of, let's say, pain points now. And in Finland, we are now renewing these guidelines and also providing guidelines also for the building owners. So how to procure this BIM-based modeling in really detailed level. So, but we will, we are actually organizing our Accord final review in June, 18th of June. I have a slide on that, so you can register and come and hear about these experiences.
I would maybe just
are these guidelines publicly available?
They are, but they are still a little bit fine-tuned, but they are, and I can send you the links to them. Yeah. And Jaan, did you want to add something?
I think it's a really good question. Maybe I just would like to specify, Dimitrios, you mentioned there's problems with the IFC schema in the software. What specific software are you talking about?
Jaan, if I may, it's not about the specific software. It's more about the education of people, how they should be utilizing the software in order to map the correct entity and how they should model the things within the their project. And of course, how they should export these information later on using the specific MVDs and so forth, and versions of IFC.
Maybe just to quickly give you a short answer, what you're looking for is IDS, Information Delivery Specification, the standard from Building Smart, which has been created to solve exactly that problem. So not everything needs to be in the IFC schema. You can define your requirements with an IDS, which is machine readable, and more software are supporting it. So the MVDs is not really the path you want to be looking at. It is the Open BIM workflow, and that includes IDS, but it's very well covered in the starter package. So have a look at that. But I see Ilkka also probably has some good comments on the IFC part as well.
Yeah, Ilkka, maybe if you have a comment to this one.
Yeah. I think this is one of the very first findings that we had when we started to do the checks is that, okay, the data that we get in is not what we supposed it is. So it's not modeled correctly, or there's some data missing. So what we did is we split the checks into two. So first is the content check. And this is what Jaan already mentioned, that there is now the technology to use IDS. So you define what needs to be and how the model needs to be built. And then you do the IDS checks. What we did in Accord, Solibri has their own rule sets for this, the same thing that IDS does. Maybe in a near future, we also have the IDS version. So after these content checks, we know that, okay, the model is valid, contains all the data, it's structured the right way. And then we do the code checking. Then we know that we can check from the model what we're supposed to check. So we split it into two. You don't go to code checking before you know the data is correct.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we also do in Future Insight solution. Clearly BIM is you have the IDS check first to validate the data, exactly as Ilkka said, and then you can run the compliance checks. Because if you don't do the data validation, the compliance checks won't work.
Yeah. Just I don't know if Dimitrios, how familiar you are with this IDS, but I hope in the future ArchiCAD and Revit could implement these IDS checks into their software so that it would be more easier to to be implemented to all the architects' kind of workflows. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so the next question from Amin, please go ahead.
Hello everyone. I just wanted to know that if there are any, kind of access that we could have to the Accord system or CDE, so we can see the process, we can see how it works in action, and that would be really nice for us to know. For example, if there are even, some videos that shows the process, shows the, the options that Accord will give us to, for example, if there are any options about GIS, things. That would be really interesting because, for example, there are other solutions in, for example, it's called ENS. It's from Macedonia, and that it's also doing the same job that Accord is supposed to, study and do. And actually, they're going a bit further, so they have more options. They have more APIs for different kind of things. And for me, it was interesting to know in action how Accord system would work, and if you can give us some links or I don't know, some trial license, or that we can access this system and check how in action it will work. I would be really grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a lot of videos. They are all on our website. But this technology which you mentioned, I haven't even heard, but maybe some of our partners have. Is there anyone who is familiar with this one? ENS, did you say?
Yes, I can put the link for you in the chat. So
yeah, thank you. That would be helpful. And maybe, yeah. And could you, Tarja, put the website to the chat as well so we can? Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, next one. Do I spell it okay? Nasari, is it so?
No one is the good
No
name.
man.
Yes.
Sorry, yes, that was your last name.
No problem.
Yes, sorry.
No problem. Yes. Yes. Noman Nasir from city of Espoo. I would like to
I
ask
have even
that
met you. Sorry.
Yes, sure. No problem. I would like to ask what different you found from Finland, from Dubai and Singapore in the Accord project, and what could be better to be applied in these countries or in these projects such as Rava 3 Pro, which is better in Accord.
That's a bit
like a
tricky
comparable
question.
comment. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we haven't specifically studied those countries, but of course we have done literature reviews and we understand the progress happening there, but I don't think we are not that detailed, if we have that detailed knowledge of those technologies that they are applying there, unless there's one of our partners that would like to mention anything.
I think at least one difference is that we are trying to find open solutions like the BCRL that could be applied in multiple places and could be used as a standard for representing the building codes. So that's I don't think there is anything similar in those places.
Yeah, that's a good comment. Like initially our idea was to create like a community of openness in a way that there could be opportunities for other software companies to enter the market, so that there would be open APIs and this BCRL language that could be used to formulate those rules to get more kind of code compliance checking services. So I'm afraid we are not able to answer any other but this openness. And yeah.
I think maybe as an additional comment, there was the study done by PwC on behalf of the European Commission that looked at BIM-based permitting around Europe and also in other areas. So there's a link to that, those study results, also in the education package, I think. And another initiative that is looking at this BIM-based permitting is also the IFC and Open BIM mandate document that was published by Building Smart just recently and is being updated also now with a case study from Dubai. So there's definitely more and more material coming out on it. So just some recommendations to look at, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, good. Okay, I'm looking if we still have more questions or comments. I guess not. Oh, yeah. Yes, please.
Let me ask one last question. As I am from Asia, so is it possible that someone or some country from Asia or from any other country follows the process of Accord and apply it to their own country?
Well, that's of course our wish, at least. But we don't have any real connections probably at this moment to those countries within this project, let's say so. But yeah, but this building permitting topic is one of the interest areas of the European Commission as well at the moment. So probably there will be more, let's say, face-to-face events where we can meet and exchange ideas and our results. At least that's my hope for the future. Yeah, did I see another hand, or is there some? Okay, and thank you for the comments. And then there's one, is this a technical comment? What types of elements are currently checked in the BIM model? Are these only architectural objects, reinforcement and MEP elements not checked? So maybe Pasi or Ilkka, do you want to take this one?
We are checking mainly architectural, but what is in the UK? I think they were doing something different as well. Do you have comments on the point? Or,
yeah, there are some structural elements probably because they're following those Euro codes. Yeah, Thomas, are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
Regarding the UK demonstration, is it the structural design that is checked there, and what kind of elements they are checking?
They're looking at some aspects of the Eurocode 3 standard. It's not the whole standard. So what the process that they're doing there is essentially trying to integrate an enriched BIM model with a finite element analysis piece of software, and then some rules to essentially compare the outputs of that software to make sure they're compliant with the requirements of Eurocode 3.
Yeah.
I can maybe comment on the Estonian part as well, regarding what is looked at. And I think at the moment it depends again a lot on what is the building permitting phase, what is the requirement of information to be delivered to get a building permit. In Estonia, it's not that much, so you don't have really that much MEP information in the preliminary design model. Some structural elements, but mostly it is still the architectural model that is used. But in the end, it depends, of course, again, what you want to check. And I think, the ideal goal would be to have a package of checks that you can apply mostly anywhere. But unfortunately, it's not like that in many cases, and in countries are different, regulations are different, they are interpreted differently. And even in the same country, a single regulation can be interpreted more than a dozen ways. So it all starts with really having, deciding what you want to check, what are the critical things, the value-adding things that will save you time, that you want to automate. And from that, you can have a look, okay, what kind of information is needed to run these checks, whether it is there already in the right design phase or whether this information is missing. Should we specify this? And that's where actually the requirements for IFC are coming from. And if you follow that process, then you know, it can be all kinds of elements, and you can set all kinds of requirements. In Estonia, for example, when we did the implementation, we took the kind of Estonian BIM standard that was the best practice used for delivering IFC models. And we saw that there were some things missing that we needed to run the check in the government system. So we created an additional list, and unfortunately IDS wasn't available back then, and I'm sure now they're working on an IDS version of it as well. But what we found out that we need to add certain elements to the models so that the checks would run, and yeah, and this can be there weren't a lot. There were less than 30, I think, or around 30 properties. So not a big job to add to any model and to validate and check the model before you run the checks. So yeah, I'm not sure if that really answered the question, but maybe give some context. Yeah, Dimitros, okay. I see you have your hand up again.
Yes, hi, thank you. A little bit back on the previous question. I will try to give an example. So we were thinking along with some colleagues of using, let's say, it's going to be a little bit technical, the entity IFC special zone in order to place a geometrical representation and derive from there some distances from the site boundaries. Unfortunately, as I understand, that specific entity is not implemented in all of the tools that are being used in the industry for BIM authoring. So mainly that was my my initial question, and how would this be treated? Meaning, would there be some kind of a guidance of which type of elements should be used in such and such application, and those elements should be mapped with the such and such entities from the IFC schema?
Good question. I'm not a technical expert on the IFC part, but what I do know is doing these checks in Estonia, in Finland, also in Netherlands, and experimenting elsewhere. It relies a lot on IFC spaces, actually. We haven't used that much IFC zones. So use spaces to identify boundaries and to calculate distances between one or the other space. But yeah, there's various ways to do it. I'm not sure there's one right way to do it. I think we need to have more examples, more use cases to see what works and what doesn't. And from that, hopefully we can derive at some point maybe the best practice. But yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if anybody else on the call has a better answer to that. Pasi, maybe your experience from Solibri.
Yeah, well, I think it's also so that IFC schema is so wide that not all the tools have implemented. I think, well, there is no tool that has implemented everything, except if you are just reading IFC and showing it as it is. But it's also possible to give feedback to the vendors and say that we need this for this reason, and then hopefully they will implement it. Like, so one thing is to find a solution that works today, and you can do some shortcuts and use or abuse space or something else, and then find the optimal solution, specify the optimal solution, and try to push the vendors to implement those, so that you will have your good solution in the future. But it's good to like see what is possible, try to use the tools and find out what is possible to do today, because a lot is already possible, and then paint the picture of the better future and try to influence the vendors to implement the things that you need.
Okay, great. I think now we could take this exercise. So are you familiar with this Slido? So you can either type to your web browser slido.com and then this Accord2, or just do this QR code here. So there's a couple of questions to you. Now it's good. Okay. Ideas for modeling rules, RTF, stakeholders, competence needs. And I have to advertise here that we are pushing out our last deliverables this spring, and we are still providing a couple of newsletters, and where we will provide you with links to the deliverables. And yes, thank you so much. Should we move on to the next question then?
Maybe just to look at the results and maybe comment a bit.
Yeah,
possible?
Please. Sure.
Because I see 1, 2, 3, at least 3 mentions of IDS. So I'm happy to see that IDS is a very interesting topic, and to many, I think, new. And to comment on that, we have maybe one more link I can share, because in the Building Smart regulatory room, mainly under, I think, Tommi Hentinen's initiative, they also compiled an IDS for regulatory information requirements, which is, I'm just going to put the link in the chat, which is detailed in the Building Smart use case management service. And there you can also go and download a sample IDS with all the regulatory information requirements. And of course, that IDS is quite big. It has a lot of entities in it, a lot of specifications. I'm not saying you should follow all of them, but if you want to have an example and see how they can be described in IDS, then that is one part you can already look at and use. But in the end, again, it's not something you should just copy and use all of it within your regulatory information checks, but use that as an inspiration to see what has been detailed in Finland mainly, and how they see it. And yeah, based on that, you can start figuring out and working on your own ideas. So yeah, maybe just wanted to give another small hint at where to get more information.
Yes, perfect. And also Tarja posted the link to our results page, and there you can find one of the first deliverables, the 1.1, which talks about this municipalities maturity, because we mapped the demonstration countries maturity. So there you can find information on that. Okay. I guess we are then ready to move on to the next question. Okay, I don't know how many of you had a chance to look at the materials beforehand, but this is just a simple question on if there's any improvements to be made. And probably we can take a hint on this ideas generation, at least, that we could have a video on that. We still have one webinar coming in May, so let's take a action on that at least. I will post the advertisement regarding the next webinar in May 14th.
Maybe those who put yes regarding the improvements would be really helpful if you would also maybe outline or give us a few hints on what part needs improving, so we can really focus on that. Because I see it's mostly yes, and just to be transparent, I also put yes because there's always room for improvement. I think regarding the education package as well, the idea was to have it first for municipalities because they're really important, play the key role in getting this whole BIM-based permitting started, and maybe it's a bit too technical already. So we're thinking maybe we split it into a more simple or general version as well. So yeah, definitely, and the education package as well is still, I would say, it's the first version. We want to share with you as quickly as possible, but it also depends on certain other parts of the Accord projects still in progress, and the Accord project, as you might know or might not know, lasts until the end of summer. So we will still be updating and improving those materials over the course of the year.
Yeah, but right, this Rita? Is just like warming up. No worries.
Okay. This is still warming up. Sorry, I was getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, let's move on to the next ones. Okay. Will you use this training material in the future? I think this is also a warm-up question. Okay, at least one yes. Perfect. Maybe. Okay, maybe we can move on then, and you can still answer later on. These were just like warming up questions. Okay, then do we have public authorities here online? Because this is specifically for you. So do you think that automated compliance checking will shorten the time for initial processing of the application or negotiation between the parties? Maybe both or none of them.
Can non-public authorities also answer this question?
Yes, I think so. Or was it so? No, actually, I don't remember. Did we have another one for the other partners or stakeholders? But I guess we're not getting more answers. So let's move on to the next one, because this was specifically. Okay, this one also. So will this compliance checking improve the quality of the approved projects and reduce errors in the construction phase? Okay. Does this show how many have answered? Is it all the 8 ones? Is it so?
Yes, it's 8.
Okay, perfect. Let's take the next one then. So what would be the most difficult issue when transferring to automated code compliance checking? So this one we discussed a little bit. So this training one, investment costs or guidance. And thank you for your answer. I guess we have 8 or 9 or 10 even public authorities. Maybe we can move on. Okay, so this is for architects. I hope we have those also online. So what would help you most in preparing IFC files or automated checking? So education and training, national BIM library with examples, or harmonized classification system for materials and products. I will also post the advertisement to our final event in June in Brussels. You are welcome to join. Please just register in the link there. And yeah, but we are lacking time, but I'm still willing to stay here. But I will thank you very much, those that participated so far. I think we still have a couple of questions to go through if you still have some time before lunch. Okay, thank you so much. So it looks that this classification system is very important. Okay, and then next one. So again, for architects, so how do you prefer checking the readiness of your IFC file? So locally in your own authoring software, so referring to Revit or ArchiCAD or similar, or using a self-checking service, which Ilkka mentioned that they have this service now available. Okay, quite tight competition here. So both are preferred. Okay,
I think
this is interesting.
you can only choose one, but I think this should be a multiple choice question, either both as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
In the end, you should have it in your authoring software, but you want to be sure from the municipality side that you have kind of a third-party tool which is neutral, where you can also run the checks.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and Ilkka, if you want to comment something here, because you have a service this.
I was trying to give a thumbs up to Jaan's comments, but I accidentally clicked raise.
Okay, but this is good information for you. Okay, great. Did we still have some questions to go forward? Okay, architects, are you comfortable with sharing your IFC file with the building authority? So answers are yes, yes, but only with the building authority for the bookkeeping, yes, but only for the duration of the permitting process, or no. Okay. So it seems that this only for the duration of the permitting process is mostly preferred. Okay, thank you. And next one.
That's all. We don't have any more questions.
Okay, okay. But these are really nice insights, even though we didn't have that many responses, but this is really nice information. Okay, and there's some really nice comment in the chat. Thank you very much. And I hope you have got some insight into Accord results so far. And we still have one webinar coming up in May and the final seminar in June. So you are most welcome to join both of them and continue the discussion with us. And Noman, please.
Out of curiosity, what accord stands for? Like
Okay.
ACC ORD.
Yeah, I can put it to the chat, but it's automated. Okay. If I just find it really quickly. Okay, there it is. Automated compliance checks for construction, renovation, and demolition works. Okay, now it's pretty big. I'll just modify it a little bit smaller.
This industry is all about acronyms, isn't it? IDS,
Yes.
IFC, Accord, PCF, BCRL.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much, and please just contact us if you have any further questions so we can continue the discussion. Thank you so much. Bye and have a nice
Thank you.
rest of the
Bye-bye.
day. Bye-bye.